I met a girl for the first time today. She said she was a witch. She said she knew the future. She said that it had to be me, and she said that it was imperative that she seek out someone whom she had not known previously. The magic would not work on a friend. She knocked on my apartment door early this morning. I was awake, as I always am, between 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning. I was waiting, as I always do at that time. I always wait and wonder who will come to my door. I wonder what is going to happen to me today. Until today, no one ever came, and nothing ever happened. Every day I've been forced to turn the knob and walk out the door. Every day I've desperately wanted to be sought, but every day I've ended up being the seeker. Today this was not the case. Today my dream came true, and I'm sorry it did. I opened the door, and there was a young woman, dressed in white walking clothes with black sashes. She wore a wide, thin black belt with no discernible buckle or fastener. It looked like she had just slipped it over her hips. Her shoes were black and comfortable, but they were open at the top so as to reveal the tops of her feet. Her hair was dark, long, and wild. She told me she knew who I was, though she called me by the wrong name. When I protested, she said that it was not important what I called myself, because she had a special name for me that was just between her and I. She said that we were going to go on a little trip. We were going on foot, so it was important that I wear comfortable clothes. I had already showered and brushed my teeth, so I took out a clean new pair of jeans and a brand new white short-sleeved shirt. Together we walked to the bridge that crosses the gully over by the falls, about 20 kilometers out of town. We walked the whole way. We talked about the weeds that grew by the side of the road. We agreed that the weeds did not belong. We also agreed that the road would be diminished without them. We discussed alternatives to plant along the side of the road. We discussed flowers, shrubs, gravel, soil, streams, and sidewalks. We discussed what sorts of buildings should be built by the side of the road, which led us to discussing whether the road should even be there. Then she asked whether the wilderness should have ever been built around the road. I asked whether one day the only thing left would be the road. I was thinking that instead of empty spaces, there would simply be more roads. She told me there would always be an infinite wilderness, no matter how many roads are built to traverse it. Eventually we arrived at the place where we were going. We looked over the edge of the bridge, and we listened to the distant roar of the falls. This was not a large river, though it was fast, violent, and deep beneath us. Though the roar of the river was faint here, it still prevented us from hearing the sound of the nearby road. Suddenly we leapt up onto the top bar of the guardrail. We were standing high above the ravine with nothing between us, hundreds of feet of air, a little bit of fast water, and rock. That is the moment when she cast her spell. I had no power to save her as she plunged. She went over backwards. She was falling backwards and looking without concern at me. She became ever smaller until she was just a tiny speck, and then the movement stopped. I have excellent vision. There is no mist at the bottom of that gully. What I saw cannot be explained. She vanished. She should have been visible. At first I thought she had passed into the bubbling rapids. Then I thought she must have traveled right through the earth and rock into whatever realm lay below. The whole world became cold, and it was coated in the mist that gathers at the base of the falls. The floor of the bridge rushed up to catch my numb face. I knew that the metal was cold on my cheekbones, and I knew that I had a headache. The metal of the bridge felt like a fraying net. It was the only thing keeping me from plunging all the way through to the center of the earth after her. I was lying there, gradually getting the road pattern branded into my face, when I felt a sudden hotness, as if the blood from someone else's body suddenly erupted from all of my pores at once, and drenched me in heat. The sensation passed in a moment, but as soon as that happened, I felt her near me once again. I heard the sound of radio static bouncing from place to place on my body. One moment it was in my right arm, and then it was in my foot. Another second later it sounded from my entire left arm, plus the very tip of my right ring finger. As this static moved around my body, I believed that my fingers were growing longer and shorter with the completely irregular, patternless pulses of the white noise. I tried to lift myself up, but I found that my arm muscles had been paralyzed. Regardless, I tried again, and I succeeded. Pulling myself up from the metal grate deck of the bridge, I stood up and looked for her, but my eyes didn't see her. I felt she was there, but I knew she had fallen through the floor of the earth. I felt a tingling sensation on the inside of my right forearm, so I looked down at my arm. I saw nothing but my arm, the bridge deck beneath it, the ravine beneath that, and the river in the bottom of the ravine. There was nothing unusual about the appearance of my arm, but the tingling sensation persisted. It appeared to have a pattern, so I traced it with my left index finger, and I worked out a letter of the alphabet. It was the first letter of the name she had given me. Since that hour, I have gone on with my life as before. There are a few small differences, though. I no longer wonder what is going to happen to me. I no longer wish to be acted upon by the world. I do not wonder who I will meet. I have seen everything. I have done everything. I have been to all places. When I was just a teenager, I read some books about real magic. I am looking at magic once again. I am researching an immortality spell. It simply requires a subject whom I have never met. The magic won't work on a friend.